So, last time we talked about planetary tiles being dead and long live the planetary tiles, as well as a little bit about robots and how they're going to be working, and some of the class systems within 2.2. However, today we're going to be talking about the new planetary management system within Stellaris, some of the buildings, because in fact buildings are dead, but long live the buildings, as well as a bunch of migration related things, and maybe even, hell, some robot entertainment. So let's kick things off here. Let's start talking about the planetary management system and how you can use a new system called districts to shape and develop your planets. Now, first of all, we got this image. It's a ocean world. Apparently, habitability is 100. Its size is 19. And as you can see right here, there are city districts. Now, in this image, immediately, a new type of resource has already being unveiled. It is the trade of value good that is being generated by clerks. Then they also generate luxury goods. Now, the way this system works is that you can specialize your districts on a planet and basically make your worlds work like that. So, for instance, you can build a world that has a ton of city districts, or mining, or other items, an agricultural world, a science world, etc. So specialization is apparently still completely viable. Of course, they do have their upkeep and etc, etc. Now, why districts? Well, districts are also an extension of the new POP system, where POPs are dedicated to certain types of districts and in certain amounts of values, and final numbers are obviously still pending, and certain workers generate certain goods. So, for instance, if you have a researcher, they will be able to generate science. If you have a clerk, they will generate trade value and luxury goods for trade, as well as various others that are available, such as standard workers, standard specialists, and we also have entertainers, researchers, roboticists as well, and metallurgists, and that's of course a word that I cannot pronounce for the life of me. Then we're going to be moving on to some of the new modifiers that'll be added to the planet. Now, deposits are kind of dead because the way the system worked previously, we had things like alien pets and Betharian stone. They are now being moved to the resource tab underneath the districts, and in the one that we have in front of us here is crystalline caverns, which generate something called crystal mines. Now, the thing is that we don't know at this point whether or not the planets will still have the planetary modifiers that, for instance, generate higher amount of minerals, a higher amount of energy, low gravity, bleak, and all that stuff. I still expect those to be there, but it looks like we're going to be seeing a couple of additional special minerals being added to planetary levels, which allows us to build new buildings. In this particular case, something called crystal mines. And according to Martin, you do not want to miss out on a planet that supports crystal mines. Then we have some of our other stuff, some samplings of new buildings in the new planetary management system, and as always, the numbers are very much not final. A lot of these buildings were originally in the game as of, at least no, not so much the buildings themselves, but the icons for them. For instance, the alloy foundries, I'm pretty sure used to be a Starbase module involving one of the ore refineries that you could use to have on star bases. Same thing for that solar power output thing with the civilian manufacturing. And of course, a lot of these buildings appear to be lifted straight from things like, habitats and the Ministry of Culture I see there. Fascinating. Regardless of semantics, the planetary building system seems to be rather unique as well. Apparently, you need to unlock certain levels of something on your planets in order to be allowed to build certain buildings on your planets that will improve your districts as such. So for in this particular case, we got a civilian manufactory, which adds a artisanal job for every 20 infrastructure what you have, whatever that means. And those artisans turns minerals and food into luxury goods. So every single building will most likely be able to improve the planetary output of your worlds, which is obviously rather important for specialization, etc. This is definitely a massive departure of what we've had in the past. And, well, we are basically looking at a ship of Theseus right now in terms of this game, because if you compare this to Stellaris 1.0, this is a very, very different indeed. And in this image, you also have the upkeep cost. There's still the question of what the thing in the bottom left is. It's the little happiness. Maybe it's culture. Who knows? But who knows what that's going to be? That's still to be unveiled. Probably sometime around the 8th of August 2018. Then we have a couple of things regarding migration mechanics. Apparently migration no longer works in terms of a single pop moves to a single system. A pop is... growth is added to one planet and decreases on another planet. So if you have a lot of migration from one world to another, it will improve the growth on the other world. So there is no such thing anymore as a pop physically moving from one place to another. A declining pop will add somewhere else unless it's in the process of dying. But this is only when it's migration, which is rather interesting. So migration represents the overall level of immigration and immigration occurring on a planet. So there you go. And in this particular case, 15% immigration increases monthly pop growth by 0.9%, which is obviously final numbers are not final because 0.9 is a huge number. And finally, we're going to be looking at something else that has been teased, and that is Droid Entertainers. Now, obviously, we talked a little bit about synthetic species before and how their mechanics are going to be working, but we also now have a new function for droids instead of just having robotic assault armies and droid workers. The droid technology allows droids to do the jobs of basically normal pops, except rulers, specialists, and research. So they turn into entertainers. So basically, they turn into the animatronics from the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland. So there you go. And apparently they're generating 20 of something that we don't know what it is yet. Maybe it's culture, who knows, but I'm very excited about it, and we shall see where this goes. We're going to wrap up this this look at the future of Stellaris up here. I hope you enjoyed it. The last time we did one of these, it was quite successful, and I hope that we can do something similar here. But yeah, population growth and how planetary development works and all that stuff is fascinating to me, and I'm looking forward to see more of this stuff as it develops. Apparently, it's still quite some time away. This looks like one of the biggest overhauls yet, making 2.0 look like completely nothing, which by itself is pretty crazy, but what do you know, right? It's these guys. It's the Stellaris team. They're not scared of, you know, going against the flow and build something completely new. But we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take good care of yourselves and, as always, each other.